Yeah. But it does make you realize, like, oh, that people think of you and are like, oh, actually, I shouldn't talk about this in front of Jamie because it's insensitive.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I am so okay with, I have so much respect for the person who comes up to me personally, looks me in the eye, and tells them how hard it was when they had a cold. I think that that's so much cooler when someone's willing to do that and just like go off on the smallest
Yeah.
thing and not care about the fact that like I have a different threshold for that.
But it is so relative because I've had people complain about certain things. I think we talked about this last time a little bit about the like what is a significant death.
Yeah.
So people will be like, "Oh, my grandma died" or something, and I'm like, I don't react well.
Hmm.
I'll be like, "Okay, yeah." So what grandparents do.
Yeah.
Old person lived a great life. I
Yeah.
always say something like, "I'm like, wow, they lived a really great life. They got to see you grow up. Like that's two
Yeah.
generations. Wow."
Yeah.
And not to like undermine it, you could still be sad. Someone in your family that you love
Hmm.
passed away, but I'm also like, all right.
No, I definitely do recognize that both of us are not the people that you go to if you want like a big reaction over something. Like
Honestly,
if you,
for anything,
for
positive or
anything.
negative, I'm just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's very hard. I'm also on a lot of mood stabilizing medication,
Yeah.
but it's very hard to get a big reaction out of me.
I feel badly when I do that to people because it's just also a personality thing. Like, I'm just not a
Yeah.
huge,
And
like,
I want to be excited for people. And I am excited, but I don't always show it. Or like if someone's telling a story, I'm not always like,
yeah.
no, in the way that they want.
I do this bit on stage about how my voice, like, can make people feel bad about their good news. And, like, I'll point to a couple and be like, you guys could tell me you got engaged. And I would earnestly mean when I, like, say,
Yeah.
like, oh, good for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
But it sounds like kill yourselves, break up. Like,
That's how I feel when someone has something like sad happen to them is my I don't it's not like like if you were to come to me and be like this thing happened
yeah.
and my reaction might be to say like that's a bummer.
Yeah.
And I know that that's very undercutting depending
Yeah.
on what the thing is. But I do mean it in the
I think
highest.
those are my 50-50. I say bummer or that's
I
wild.
say bummer all the time. Yeah. And people take that as me undercutting what they're
yeah.
saying. But I would also say that 9/11 was a huge bummer.
Big bummer.
I would also
That one is
say,
wild and a bummer.
yeah, I would. It is wild and a bummer. I would also say that having a terminal disease is a huge bummer.
Yeah.
I'm not undercutting your bummer, but I can see how it comes off like I'm
But
being
people
too
are
casual.
already in the mentality, like, they already know what they want to hear when
Yeah.
they ask you or say
Mhm.
certain things. So when you don't react in the vein that they were expecting, that's
Yeah.
when they get annoyed.
Well, especially if it's a story they've already been telling multiple people, and now it's your turn to hear it, and you don't react. Like they know where, because it's like even people who are not performers, everyone masters stories. I learned this from working in restaurants so much because you see people like
Yeah.
sitting at a table, the one person who's like at the head of the table running the storyboard and who is like, you can tell has polished this story like we
Yeah.
do as comics, where like they know where all the reactions and all the hits are, whether it's laughs or gasps
Right.
or whatever is the point of this story. And I think that's just like a human nature thing. And so sometimes I will realize after someone walks away, like, oh, I don't think I gave them what
They were looking.
they were looking for. And that was not, I was not trying to make them feel bad. I don't think I heard that as like as big of a deal as they did.
Yeah, and that goes back to everything we were saying is we all see things differently. And I was just thinking while you're saying that is like, I know you said you're concerned that people may have been lying to you. I think people have been soft to me my whole life too, but
Yeah.
that's more how I come off personality wise. I've
Yeah.
had multiple guys I've dated tell me that they avoided telling me something because they don't like how my face looks when it's sad. Like they just like they're like I cannot deal when your eyes like well up with tears. They're like I can't even see it. And I'm like, all right, what did you wait till it turns anger? Like I've definitely had people pass off certain things because they don't want to see me sad, which is a physical trait. I look like a muppet when I'm sad. Which I get that, but I also get because my personality is like pushy. People avoid telling me things because I'll just hit it like head on.
Which the idea of avoiding telling someone something always makes me laugh because then
Because
they're gonna find out
be sad,
eventually,
and then it's
they're
gonna be way worse.
and they're just gonna be mad at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I just feel
Like,
like
I don't want you to be sad. I want you to be so fucking angry you never talk to me again.
I want
That's
you
what
to never
every guy-
trust me moving forward because
I'm
I
trying to
omitted.
think like what the first this guy. I'm trying to think because felt like a minor fight, but he truly was like could not deal with the fact of that I could potentially be sad when it was something that would make me sad.
Are you a crier? Do you cry?
Rude question.
Do you? Jamie, I need you to be honest with me right now.
Oh,
Do you fucking cry?
people that know me, yeah.
You cry a lot?
Uh, um,
It's okay. I just
I
have
do,
never, I
for sure.
mean,
I'm such an easy
I
cry.
feel like I know you very well and I
No,
just have, you've
people,
never cried.
yeah, people don't, like, even close friends. Like, I remember my friend Laura, we're still close, but we were random freshman year roommates. And one day, some commercial came on. It was like a soldier coming home video, and I was
That'll do it.
sobbing. And she literally took a headphone out. I was like, you, who sits here and watches like 4 hours of Sports Center a day, is crying at this Cheerios commercial? And it kind of like broke the seal for her. But yeah, definitely people think tough exterior, but I am a weenie.
You're a
at heart,
crier.
for sure.
Yeah.
Not like I'm definitely like a.
Yeah.
And it goes like I don't want people to see me cry, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely a crier.
I've never seen you cry.
I think I'm a 50-50. I don't know. You'll see it
I think I
someday.
can make you cry.
I truly, I'll do it now if you want me to pull up. I have,
Yeah.
I have like, if I need to get a cry out, I'm one of those where I get so frustrated I need to cry it
For
out.
sure. Oh, the only time you'll ever see me cry is when I'm angry.
Yeah.
Because I never get angry. I
Yeah.
hate that feeling.
That's the thing. It's just like
Never.
built up. Like I'm just so frustrated I need to cry.
Yeah.
Well, and then I cry for like, I'm not crying because like sad. Like I recently like sent a picture to a friend. Like a friend was visiting and they left, and I sent a picture and it was like me crying after like saying bye, and they were like thought that I was in love with them. And I was like, all right.
Okay.
I was like,
Pull it
no.
back.
I was like, I've cried at a TikTok this morning.
Yeah,
Please.
you cried at the Cheerios
Yeah, I
commercial.
was like, I was just sending it because I said something about having big feelings. Like,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
getting
yeah.
overwhelmed because they were saying something that like I didn't give like a proper goodbye, and I was like, yeah, I got overwhelmed. Like I was like, I'm more of a see you later friend. Like I have one friend that every time we see each other, I just say see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with the big feeling of goodbyes are really hard for me.
Same.
Bring it all back to trauma. Knowing that someone can die in their sleep or you could wake up to a dead husband
Yeah.
really makes me think like, and you could lose anybody at any time, so I'm very big about saying goodbyes and stuff, even if it's like
I feel the
at a
opposite
party
way.
at a ditch.
Oh my God. Yeah, you will, it'll just be like, I am the queen of
I'm
the
the
Irish
exact
goodbye.
opposite.
I will never say goodbye. I am like
Why do you
on
think
the
that
fist
is?
bumper, like I will be like, it's been real. And
Yeah, I mean, I'm not hugging everybody.
Yeah.
I will give like a, I'm leaving.
no, I don't want anyone to. I hate goodbyes. I hate hellos as well. I like to just enter and everybody is already just in the middle of a conversation.
I guess that makes sense for your situation though, because you could go at any minute.
Yeah.
You don't want to deal with other people's feelings.
Oh, big time. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I just hate when you go to like parties and stuff and you have to say goodbye to multiple people and everyone this is so
You're
stupid
like,
to
I
complain
hate
about.
that my friends
Like,
love me
I'm
and
so
care about
loved
me.
and it's so difficult. I just hate when you go to parties and you have to say goodbye to a bunch of people and then everybody's trying to do the like, when will I see you next? Blah blah blah. And
Yeah, and you're just like, I don't know.
and I'm like, anything that we say right now is just
Well, and that's the thing. I'm
Nothing.
honest with my goodbyes. And
Yeah.
that's why I say see you tomorrow or like see you later. To
I like
most of
see you
my
tomorrow.
friends.
That's good.
Yeah, because
I
it's
might
like
use
we'll
that.
figure it out.
Yeah.
But,
We'll text. It's not like what we say right
it'll-
now is going to be the answer.
I'm such a mush with words too. Like he says see you tomorrow, and it is a friend I genuinely see pretty much every other day.
Yeah.
But when he says it, it's just like I hear I love you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I hear.
Yeah. Damn, I really want to make you cry now.
Oh, I could. I mean, literally anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. The last time I cried, probably the airport drop off. But that wasn't. That was just like an overwhelming feeling, and like I'll put a song on to get a cry out, and then move on with my
Yeah.
day.
That's the thing. Like, I cry. Obviously, I went to school for acting. So, like, I can cry on command very easily, but only ever when it means nothing.
Yeah.
Because the way that we learn to cry, there's two ways you learn to cry in college. As an actor, there's two ways you can cry. So you either do it with muscle recall, which is it has nothing to do with your feelings. You just
I mean, I definitely fake cried with some boyfriends in my youth.
yeah.
I'll say.
And you know how like basically you can do it enough where you memorize the way that you move your face to cry and then it
yeah.
actually happens.
Well, you're a manipulative bitch too. So, and what I meant to say is you also have big eyes, right?
yes, yeah.
It's like an easy
Owl eyes, yes.
tear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a tear recall. Yeah, I remember I was like so frustrated with this guy, but I just did not want to explain anything ever again.
Yeah.
I think we're out I forget, but I definitely forced a tear out. So he would have to like visually recognize that I was upset about
Oh,
something
yeah.
because he was just not getting
Mm-hmm.
it.
I
But
don't.
most guys like fully lose their minds when they say if I cry. Because I'm usually, because to your point, people don't see me as a crier. So if I cry in
Yeah.
front of them, they're like, "Ugh, what
Yeah,
do I
that's
do?
true.
What do I do with
That's a
this?"
good point. Yeah. Do you think of me as a crier?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So if I did start crying right now, it would be
No,
crazy.
because you're an actor. So like I think of you as like no feelings.
That's correct. Yeah.
I
Thank
think
you.
of you as neutral. I think of you as being a whatever is in the moment.
That actually means a lot to me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. My friend in college used to call me.
Psychopath.
My friend in college used to call me Stonewall Sills because
Wow.
I was so unemotional that the teachers would be like, "Are you? Is there anything
Yeah.
going on in
No, I'm
there?"
definitely an emotional person, but I don't think people associate me with crying.
No. No, not at all. But you're very right about the eyes thing.
Yeah.
It's the yeah, having big eyes is.
Yeah.
Do people tell you because you're the same way? We both have like very round eyes.
Mm.
Owl eyes is the way that like the nicer way I've heard it described. But do you guys tell you that you have blowjob eyes all the time?
Jesus Christ, no.
No,
Oh my God.
I get told. Okay, never mind. No, me neither.
I think we
Me
talk to
neither.
different people.
Me neither.
um,
Me neither.
I've definitely heard. I've not heard that phrase that you just said,
Hmm.
but I've heard like, yeah, they want you to look up.
Right. Instead of looking up with your like, if I'm looking at the camera, instead of looking up with your chin, they want you to look up with just your eyes, and like that's the, and that's what
What
directors
a
say on
foul
camera and
phrase.
stuff all the time. They'll be like, "Don't look up," like you're like looking at your counterpart who's taller, and it's
Yeah.
like, "Don't look up with your face, like look up with your eyes," and it's like I get
Yeah.
what you're getting at.
You definitely know. Well, as an actor, like I haven't studied it, but I definitely people have told me. People feel a type of way about me because of what my face looks like. Like people like will think I look mean or think this and think that, and they perceive stuff, and I'm probably just like thinking, and my face is just
Hmm.
very expressive.
Yeah.
Which, due to comedy, I've noticed more and more. Obviously, having to watch videos, like people have
Hmm.
said things to me. Oh, I love when you made this face, and I was like, I need to check myself because no wonder people feel I feel a type of way. When I look at my face, I'm like, yeah, I can see that
Yeah.
person thinking I hate them, but it's just my face.
It's very like you learn a lot from I mean like especially acting on film when I see footage like on this past Friday I had to spend 5 hours in an editing session 5 straight hours editing a teaser reel of almost every shot that
Oof.
I'm in and it was just if I had to see my face for one more minute after that 5 hours or hear my stupid fucking voice I was gonna like that this bitch
Yeah.
needs to shut up and it's just part of it but it makes you so used to make me so self-conscious and now it makes me so like I feel like I've lost any
Yeah,
care.
you're neutral to it.
Way too neutral. I feel like I have gotten way too comfortable with like
You're
I
like,
feel like
yeah,
you
it's
need a
fine.
certain level of self-consciousness when it comes to whatever, but I start to look at my face and I don't think that that's me at all.
Well, I'm
Like
having
very
that this
dissociated.
week. Was I telling you I that's the Emily Blunt thing?
Oh yeah, well you told me this before that someone said that you have Emily Blunt
No,
eyes.
they came up to me after a show, and it was a married couple, and the husband was like, "My wife and I have to tell you this, that
Sorry.
you look like Emily Blunt."
I
And I said it on TikTok as a joke because I obviously look at that photo and I'm like, "What the hell are people talking about?"
yeah.
And I put it on TikTok, and everyone in the comments like, "I see it, I see it, I
Yeah.
see it." And one of my good friends said, "I see it." And I trust her, but it made me think I have no idea what I look like.
I
And then I was about to start watching interviews with her because I was like, maybe it's something I do. Because so half of the people were like, it's your mouth, and then half of the people were like, it's your eyes. I was like, well, which is it?
mhm.
And then I just realized I have no idea what I look like.
So I don't think you look like her, but I do think that I can see where people are coming from. But I don't think that I wouldn't look at you and say I couldn't pull that out of thin air. But now that you're saying to me, Emily Blunt, whatever.
But that's the back to the astrology thing. Like, all right, I could see that.
Is this your main person that everyone says you look like?
No one ever says I look like anybody.
I mean, I told you when I workshopped the America Ferrera thing on someone else, and someone in another room was like, "That's exactly what Jamie looks like."
I think, and this is no disrespect to you and the other white folks,
Uh huh.
people say that about any.
It was-
Well, the people that agree, I know it was.
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
The people that agree with stuff like that, it's like there's not many Latina actresses, so I've heard every Latina actress ever.
Yeah, but I don't think you look. There's so many that I don't.
I
think
know
you
you
look
don't.
like.
But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, I've literally had people tell me I look like freaking Penelope Cruz. And she's like,
Sofia Vergara.
literally anybody that has brown hair, brown
Yeah.
eyes, they just don't.
Yeah.
But for me, that's the norm in my life. Like
Yeah.
every woman I know in my family, brown hair, brown eyes, obviously. So
No, you're right. The brunette
celebrity
thing.
wise,
Yeah.
people just don't. Yeah. So the Emily Blunt thing has really made me think I have no concept of what my face looks like. Because
Yeah.
when I'm watching for a video, I'm watching certain body movements. I'm watching clip this, don't clip this. I'm doing something weird with my hand here.
Yeah.
And I just don't see it as myself, I guess.
Yeah. And it's kind of concerning how easy it is to pull away from looking at something and thinking of it as you.
Well, a couple times recently, I was like scrolling through one of the apps, and I thought a video was me, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would have.
Ooh, interesting. So who?
It was just like a random.
It wasn't a okay, yeah,
yeah.
Because I've had that too, where I see
I see someone,
I see a
like-
person and I think that that's me for a minute.
But I'm like, am I just perceiving that as what I look like?
Do you have a celebrity that you think you look like?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah. Because I always get the same. I don't know if I've told you mine too, that I get all the time. All the college students, like when they write it in, they all say this. Do you want to guess who they are?
No.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Aubrey Plaza, always for years, and as of the last couple years, the girl from Shameless. I get that all the time.
Emmy Rossum. I
Yeah.
see Emmy Rossum more
And
than
it's just brown hair and round eyes, like really big round eyes.
Well, that's what I thought when they said Emily Blunt about me. I thought
Yeah.
they were mixing up Emmy Rossum because I was like, who's Emily?
I can see you looking like Emmy Rossum too.
Yeah, I see it for eyes for you, but
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I also then it starts just getting blurred in my head. I was like, do we all just have eyes, nose, and mouth? And people
Yeah,
are
and
just
brown.
like,
Yeah, and I think when you have darker features, like dark eyebrows, dark hair,
yeah,
people just think any brunette actress.
right. And Emily Blunt does have brown hair at times, but I just don't. And what I also don't know what we get out of saying it. Like when people say it to me, I'm like, because they're not like Emily Blunt's so beautiful, you look like her. They're just like, you look like Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
You actually had a really good response that I definitely want to start using
What did I say?
when we were at Chickies
I'm scared.
after the show on Thursday.
Oh yeah. That I do.
and
say
you said that was like your common response. I
Yeah,
forget.
whenever people tell me I look like someone they know,
Yeah.
I just say she sounds hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we move on because whenever people say that, they're saying it because they see their friend in you, mannerisms, something click for them. But never show me the picture of who you think I look like because I will think your friend is the ugliest person on the planet.
Yeah.
Someone did it to me recently. Someone at Helium, I was talking to someone, they were like, was that your sister? And I was like, what the hell? Like, they thought,
Yeah.
like, the girl's perfectly beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like, just leave me, like, stop
You're like,
associating
suddenly
me
she's
with
disgusting.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
what?
Well, we were at a show on Friday and I showed you and our comic friend Josh a picture of my ex-boyfriend who I think looks exactly
You showed Josh?
like Josh. Yeah. And he agreed.
He agreed?
He fully agreed. And
Wow, I
seldom
didn't
do you
see
see
it.
somebody. Okay, yeah. But then you were like, it's just because they have brown hair and glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like his longer hair and stuff.
Yeah, like very slick
and that's
back.
like, maybe just me.
yeah.
Like, maybe if I saw a video of your friend, I could see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just don't feel like you ever show someone and they actually agree. You know?
No, but maybe he was doing what I said people do about Scream, and they just want you to stop
fuck.
talking.
Maybe Josh was like,
He was like, "Sure, sick
Yeah.
girl."
did I ever tell you that when I was working at Misconduct Tavern in college, a group of kids came in and they were like my age for sure, meaning that they were underage,
Right.
and they were all trying to order drinks, whatever. And so they were trying to like bit back and forth with me to like schmooze into it, whatever. And we talked for like 20 minutes and I walked away because you don't really get like a good look at your server a lot, right? But
Yeah.
like we talked for a while. I walked away and when I came back, someone at the table was like, "You look so much like one of my friends." And I go, "Okay." And he pulls up a picture of my own headshot.
What?
And I was like, "That does look like me. That's crazy." And he was like, "Right." And I was like, "That is me. How the fuck do you have that?" And he was like, "Oh, you're Kirsten." And I was like, "Yeah." And this was in college. Like, I wasn't even a performer. I mean, I was in.
What an
and he
idiot.
was like, "We went to high school together. Like, you probably don't remember me." And I was like, "You just branded me as your friend. Like, you just said that I'm your
That
friend."
is so crazy.
And crazy that he would have shown that picture to anyone else who looked like me and said my friend. And it was me. It was so trippy.
Didn't he hear you say my name's Kirsten at some
No, I
point?
didn't. No, we never
Oh,
did it misconduct because people would leave reviews. We would all say our name
yeah.
was Devin because it was one server we all hated and it was gender neutral.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What?
Isn't that crazy? Imagine someone saying, like, you look just like my friend and it's a photo of you and you've never met this person. It was so
My college guy
jarring.
friends used to say that they would like start giggling because I think I reminded them of someone they went to high school with that was super annoying. So they'd always like have this running joke, like,
Oh, yeah.
and then whatever. And I was like, it, that's the kind of thing where I'm like, I don't like being associated with someone else because I don't sign, sealed, delivered stamp of approval on that person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I don't like when people make associations because I don't want to like. Luckily, Emily Blunt's seemingly neutral in any category right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I don't think anybody like has heat on her, so I guess.
she's
And
gonna
also
say
she's
something probably so racist tonight just
also
because we're saying this. She's gonna come out. I mean, I'm sure they got married on a plantation or something.
she's gonna come out and say that she was there at 9/11 and she was not at
Oh my
all.
god, she flew the planes.
She's gonna come out with the Mark Wahlberg statement, like
Yeah.
that she would have stopped it.
She's like comes out and she's actually not British. Wow, that'd be crazy. But that I think that's what it is for me. I again with me trusting no one, I do not like associating with other people.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so we never finished the original question that you asked, which is your worst nightmare. So you said yours is waiting in lines. The thing you can't imagine doing is waiting in lines. Well, your silly thing. Yeah.
My silly thing.
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
there's obviously for me it is like being someone that took care of kids, like truly having kids with traumatic or just baby injuries, like things like that, like babies being sick.
Yeah.
Worst nightmare. Oof. Not cystic fibrosis. Grow up. Something different. Something worse.
Something people have heard of at least.
I've heard you talk about it for 20 years, so
For 20 years.
20 years. I'm like, give me something quick.
Um,
Wait,
no, I do wish it had more
Oh.
name recognition.
I want you to tell me your worst nightmare thing, but I do want to wrap up on our Thursday night show.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah. We're gonna bleep it
We'll
out.
cut his name, but I do want to hear what your worst nightmare is. Because like my
Okay.
worst nightmare is like obvious, like that's not even like
Yeah.
the silly one is the waiting in
Yeah. Yeah.
line.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's so many worst nightmares happening in the world right now that I can't even process.
Sure.
So I'm gonna stick with my silly one. Is
Okay.
Waiting in a line for anything.
Okay. My silly one. I don't even know if this counts as silly. I am so scared of getting rabies.
Rabies.
We live in a city.
I first thought
we
you
live in
said
a major
rabies,
city.
and I was like, let's maybe not give it a cutesy nickname. So scared of a little rabies. Sorry. So you're scared of raccoons.
You know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna get into it.
Is it possums or raccoons?
And we live in a fucking major city. It's not an issue. I'm so fucking
No, I have a
scared
friend
of
in
it.
high school that got. I mean, I'm doing friend like that guy did. Like,
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't talked to since high school. Yeah, it was a week of prom. She was like walking home, and
I knew.
a dog was running towards her, and she like went to pet it, and it knocked her down and bit her.
And she got
She had to
rabies?
get a rabies shot.
Oh, she got the shot. Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
because there was like the guy never answered.
My
so
heart
she was
just
like, no.
stopped. I don't know why this is such a. I don't know anyone who's had it.
There was that guy. There was another like viral TikTok where the guy was like drunk coming home from the bar, waving at a raccoon, and then while he was waving, another one scurried and jumped and bit his leg. Have you ever seen that video? Wow, I gotta find it. and
No,
show it
but
to you.
I believe that they did that.
Yeah, so maybe I don't know anyone that's had rabies, but rabies
No.
scares.
Well, if you have rabies, once it kicks in, there's nothing you can do. You just die, and you die like a horrible death where you're
And you-
afraid of water. You
Wait,
literally.
You're scared of that
I'm so scared of getting rabies.
because you don't want to accelerate the process.
I don't know. I would probably
What if
die
rabies-
of cystic fibrosis before the rabies would even set in.
Right, what
I
if
might have it
rabies
in me now.
cured you?
I don't know.
What if you need a raccoon bite and that's the cure for cystic fibrosis?
That's fucking crazy that the millions of dollars in research towards
Just
the
a-
Cystic
just a little
Fibrosis
rabies.
Foundation and
Just
no
a
one.
little rabies. But you know, I feel like so many medical things are like accidental, like
Yes.
not getting scratched by a raccoon, but like
Yeah, like how they discovered penicillin.
yeah,
Like-
oopsie.
Yeah. Oops.
Okay, worst nightmare is rabies.
I'm so scared of it.
So combined, our worst nightmare would be waiting in line that you can't get out of with a bunch of rabid raccoons.
And they fucking, yeah, get you good, and you have to spend the rest of your life just
Oof.
knowing it's coming. I'm so,
Rabies
like, it
is just,
keeps me up at night.
it's so funny. Like someone that loves horror, that rabies is
I
the
know that
worst
it's
thing that
so
you could come up
stupid.
with. Not stupid, but in terms of like horror and like the categories of things that you place as
Yeah.
bad, is something that you don't know when it's coming. It happens in a traumatic way. You don't know when it's coming, you don't know when it sets in, and then your body just fails you. And it's
Yeah.
like simple things, like where you're not maybe in excruciating pain, but like day by day you just like lose the will to live from the inside out. Well, maybe rabies is scarier than I thought. Where I'm just a dramatic
You're just kind
person.
of just, yeah, I feel like you're just describing terminal illness in general. But I feel like with rabies, I don't know why, it's extra scary to me. I guess because no one, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I also don't know if you can be around people when you have rabies or if you just have to like die in a room alone.
Can't you prevent
Yeah,
rabies?
it's 100% preventable, obviously.
Like how often are
Obviously, this is a
you
crazy fear because if I got bit, I would just get a rabies shot.
like if anything between the two of us, I'm getting rabies. Like I'm the one in the woods
Don't
every
take this
day.
from me.
No, I'm gonna take one illness from you. I can't
No,
get
you're
the
right. You
other.
go outside a lot more than I do. I'm
Truly,
also,
I was being followed by a bunch of deer recently. I'll show you the
oh my
vid.
God, that
put
would really
put the
scare
clip
me.
up here. Yeah, I turned around. I was like bent down taking a photo of a bird, and I turned around and there were 12 deer behind me, just like checking me out. And I was like,
That's kind of in that large quantity. That's crazy.
yeah, because I've also seen videos of very small deer like killing other animals. So I'm very scared of deer kicking.
Yeah.
Not worst nightmare, but
Okay.
up there is worst nightmare is like being traumatized doing something you love.
Yeah, like losing your passion
Yeah.
for something that you previously loved. Yeah.
Just like that fear of like going out, because sometimes I do have that, like when I'm bird watching, and like sometimes I get that it kicks in where I'm like, all right, I'm alone with some of my most expensive gear, like this
Yeah.
is something I should maybe not be doing.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about, so you came to watch me perform at a show,
I sure
like we
did.
talked about, and it was in Bucks County. Super grateful spot, super fun. But we were talking about the premise of our podcast, and we got a couple of responses that are things that we've joked about, that are the responses that we hear. First off, being that you were someone did the, and I don't fault any of these people for what they
No.
said because they're what people know, but it is what we've been talking about.
Well, that I said to you after this whole night ended, and like we'll get into what happened, but after the night ended, I said to you, it's like, because we hadn't said anything about the podcast. It's like they knew we have a podcast and we needed something to talk about on Tuesday. It
You
was
said
like
that
they
as soon
hit,
as we walked out of
yeah,
the room, like a movie.
they hit
like,
everything. Because that first conversation that we had with those two people, they hit every single thing. It was like they were plants. It was like you
we
hired them to
ping
say
pong
that.
between it. Yeah, so I brought you backstage. I introduced you, and I'll probably cut around most
Yeah,
of
yeah.
this to make it sound.
Sure.
But yeah, so we were talking to some people that we just met that night, and someone straight up looked at you and said, "What is this, long COVID or COPD?" And you had to say, "No, I have cystic fibrosis." And the other person chimed in to say, "Isn't that a kid's disease?"
Which I knew immediately what they meant.
And then they followed up by saying, "You got that, but you look so healthy. You look good." And how did you feel, react, all the above?
Okay, so the long COVID thing honestly was such a gift. Because I have had people say that to me before. Like it used to be that if you saw a younger person on oxygen, you would assume like cancer or some sort of disease. But since COVID has existed, like it's
This person thought you were BYOing oxygen.
yeah, like for the love of the game. And then I said, no, I have a lung disease I was born with. And I don't usually say the name because it's so rare. It doesn't do anything for anyone. But then this person pushed again and was like, is it COPD? And then I was like, no, it's cystic fibrosis. And they said, oh, I don't know what that is. And I said, yeah, that. And then the other person chimed in with this being a kid's disease. And we both knew exactly what that meant because I always joke that like when I was a kid, I used to like look up cystic fibrosis, and it used to, I don't know if it still does, but it said it's a disease that affects children and young adults. And as a kid, I thought that that meant like when
You grow out of it.
I will grow out of it. But it's just that like we don't become older adults. And so this person saying it's a kid's disease, he was saying like you only hear of kids with it. And so we kind of tried to like,
I think I probably said you were past your expiration date or
yeah,
something, just for them to realize what they were saying.
yeah. And my immediate reaction was, I was like, yeah, why do you think that is? Ha ha. And I mean, neither of them were like rude about it, but
If anything, I was rude. When she said long COVID, I asked her if she was long stupid.
yeah, you said.
Just because
We really went to bat for each other that
I
night.
said to this person, I was like, even if it was COVID, you are being rude.
Yeah,
Full stop.
yeah. I think it was because she had just said something immediately about my eyebrows and was like, it can't get worse than this. So
Yeah. But I think they said they felt comfortable because you're a comedian. So
Sure.
you're obviously not hiding, which I
Sure.
appreciate them saying that. But at the same time, just because I do comedy doesn't mean I want any, Joe Schmo backstage
Sure.
making fun of me.
Sure.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
something people also like. We're not on that. I'm not on stage performing.
Yeah.
So
So I will say I do appreciate, like, one thing that when I go out and I meet new people, everyone is wondering why I'm on oxygen, right?
Right.
If I'm on oxygen at the time. I'm not always, especially if they've met me prior without it and then I'm on it. It's like, what's going on? So I do like that, at least in my career, most of the time when I'm meeting new people, it's at a show and
Yeah.
I'm going to explain it. So I get a floor to do it, and then they'll all get the answer they're looking for and we can all move on. But like, I was going to see you and I was not performing.
Yeah.
And so those situations make me feel really weird. Like when I go to events, but it's not like a show. Because if I don't know these people or they haven't been like prefaced on me, which a lot of my friends will just do before I show up,
right.
I would rather you ask than just stare like here
Right.
the whole time.
Right.
But so many people think that they can't ask. But that was the craziest way. One of the craziest ways that someone's asked.
Right. Well, and then that person, when we were further explaining our podcast, asked me what my shtick was for the podcast, understanding that you are dying, not comprehending that the point of it is how our acceptance of death has helped us like move forward, or how we joke about it. And then I explained my story in a little bit more detail, to which that person then said the common phrase of, that's my worst nightmare. They did tell me that I shouldn't, I don't know what she was saying, but she said that my dad dying happened a long time ago.
Long time ago, yeah. And then she went into her own family trauma, to which we both reminded her that happened a long time ago. And she was a very good sport about it and did laugh.
Yeah. And I totally understand what she was saying.
Yeah.
Because the trauma is never good enough if it's not happening to you actively.
Agreed. Yeah.
Even when I explain it to people and they say my worst nightmare, I can't imagine. And then she looked at me and said, like it clicked all of a sudden. She was like, so your mom was sad the whole time she raised you? And I said, well, no one's ever said that to me before.
That's a very wild way to think about it. But yeah.
Actually, like it clicked for her like 15 minutes later, and she looked at me and said that. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe, but it did like make you think like maybe I was sharing about our podcast because I may be insecure that people won't listen or like relate to the idea. But then after having those conversations that night, I was like, no, this is actively happening to us every day, all the time.
Yeah. And she really said, again, I made this joke at the table, but I was like, it's the way I said to her, I was like, everything you're saying it's like you're fucking with us. Because she was drunk and I didn't feel bad about it. And I said, you're talking like the Impractical Jokers are in your ear.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, now say, I can't imagine. Like, that will kill.
Yeah.
And
tell her terminal is your worst nightmare.
Yeah. Tell her
Tell her your
tell her if
husband
your
died
husband
suddenly.
died, you'd fucking kill yourself. Yeah. Almost have to respect being that bold to
But
anyone.
that's also-
How do you talk to people like that?
Yeah, again, it goes back to everything we always say. Like, people do not hear themselves. People
Yeah.
cannot hear themselves. They're thinking like, and they're not taking long enough pauses before their next sentence. I'm number one guilty of this. Like, I say things, I'm like, Jesus Christ, why did I say that out loud?
I mean, yeah, I think I feel this. Think we all do, right? Like,
Yeah, but
it's not
I
until it's like
think
2 a.m. and
because
then
our filters are so much less. Because what do you got to live for? Not much. And flip side, I'm like on the train of, oh, people can die suddenly, so I'm gonna say what
yeah.
I'm feeling.
And once I die, you agreed to kill yourself.
Oh, immediately on camera. I'm not sure how to monetize it yet though, because no one's gonna care as much for
Live
mine.
stream.
Yeah.
I think people would care a lot once this pod is big and people
Mm.
know us as such a cute little dynamic duo, and then I die.
It's like you ever have like people that have two pets and one of the pets dies,
Oh
and the other
yeah.
one just. I guess I could have talked about old people too, like
Yeah, one of them
dies.
just like dies because they lose the will to live.
Yeah, yeah.
I really hope that happens to you
Or
at
like
35 when I die.
wham
I'm
bam.
begging you to please just
I'm like,
end it.
well, I guess this is it.
It'd be funny. It'd be a publicity stunt for sure.
Yeah, but I want the money from it.
That's true.
Fake it.
It all goes to Garrett.
I move to Ibiza.
I mean, Neil.
I'm gonna. Wow. Can you imagine if I faked my death because I wanted more attention than you got?
That would be funny. It'd be a bit.
Me and like Tupac are on an island somewhere.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a pretty cool idea. Not my worst nightmare for sure. I'm trying to think if I wanted to hit anything.
Oh, yeah. Is that everything about Thursday? Because that we can say at
I
least.
think so. Like, because overall it was like such a good show. It was just so funny that we finally like have articulated these things
Yeah.
and that people hit all of those things.
And we had recorded it the morning prior.
And I don't want people to be soft or tiptoe around me, but I also just want them to be less stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Like-
it's, I mean, there's nothing that's going to make that go away. But also, I think if people were less, if people didn't talk to us like this, then we wouldn't have a pod.
Well, and I also understand that I'm 31 and had a stepdad for most of my life and all the things that people see. But you can't tell me like being born into a situation like that doesn't shape everything moving forward.
Yeah.
Like people don't experience their first like significant death till pretty far in their life, and I was like, you know, a fertilized egg being like, damn, this sucks.
So fucking ahead of your
I was
time.
just a clump of cells being like, bummer. Damn it. Come out into the world already having to grieve somebody. That shit sucks.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was truly the first thing my mom did when she took me home from the hospital was go to the cemetery.
That's so funny.
So metal.
That's so funny that like the first place you ever went
Yeah.
was the cemetery.
Yeah. Like being a newborn who, nothing. Blob of life.
That's so. I mean, I get exactly why she did it, right? Like she wants him
Yeah.
to meet you and you to meet him.
Anything. Yeah, so that show wasn't. I was going into it like with pretty low expectations, but went better than I thought. But I did want to ask you about a recent bomb you've had, because I know you said people don't heckle you. Like you feel
Yeah.
like maybe people are like nicer in their reactions because of being sick.
Yeah.
People are a little bit more open to hear you out. But what would you say is
I do have a notable bomb, which is
recent
um
ish last year?
22.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, maybe 21, so it's not that recent. But it's my most notable in terms of the most I've ever wanted to throw myself into the Schuylkill after a show.
Yeah.
I did a show. I got hired to do 30 minutes, like headline, whatever, at a theater in the suburbs,
Okay.
and was hired to do it months ahead of time,
Okay.
and was told that it was going to be the weekend after Labor Day.
Okay.
And they booked me and like asked me to do certain bits that they had seen, whatever.
Okay. That's wild.
Yeah. I did it, and I like realized when the show was going to be, like up until it was like maybe a week before, and I realized the show was the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and that's why they wanted me to do it. And I did all of my 9/11 material, and it could not, given the circumstances, could not have seemed more like I was making this up, because
Was your mom with you for that one?
She was there, and
Yeah.
it was the only saving grace. I stopped in the middle because I was like, I said something like, let me just say, I also do these jokes all year round. Like, I know that this sounds
Right.
like I'm doing this because in your mind, in the audience's mind, it's like, what are the odds I'm in Ambler, Pennsylvania right now on the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and that,
Mm.
like, a girl who lives in this area, it was like a direct survivor
Yeah.
of 9/11. And so, like, no one would laugh. Everyone thought I was like making fun of this and that there was going to be like a punch later. And like literally could not come back from it. So that was
So
my
zero
biggest.
laughs.
Not a single one. At the end, I did get like, once I brought my mom into it, the joke that I say about the like, I always say like, oh, my mom's here. It's her, she can confirm this. Like it's her story and her trauma also. But guess who has the microphone, mom? And like that one got a laugh. Everything else, everybody was like, I don't know if they just thought that, because usually my 9/11 stuff like fucking kills. And
Yeah,
it was
killed a lot of people.
killed a lot. Yeah, kills thousands. And it was abysmal. I think about it all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That sucks because you were specifically sought out for that.
Yeah.
Which means the people booking didn't know what they were doing.
Well, I think that they thought it would be appropriate. Like,
Much like Demi Lovato performing that song Heart Attack for the American Heart Association recently.
pretty much
And then
exactly like that.
standing by it.
Yeah. They were actually kind of inspired by my performance.
Yeah, that was your management? That was
Yeah,
the
and
same
then
manager?
they did, and then they booked her for that. Yeah. Um yeah. How about you?
So you've had like minor bombs since. That is a
Oh,
big
for
one.
sure. Yeah. I'm trying to think like of any that have like been
Soul
sticking
crushing,
with
yeah.
me. Yeah, have been soul crushing. What, give me yours.
Yeah, I had one probably a couple months ago, local show, and like at a place I perform at all the time, and I was feeling pretty cocky going into it for some
Mhm.
reason. Like I wasn't worried about that one on my upcoming schedule. Is what
Yeah.
I'll say. Like I'll look at my calendar and be like, that wasn't one I was
Yeah.
stressing about in the least. And I got up there and it was like, I don't think I've ever been funny at a moment in my GD life.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I've ever written a joke. I got up on stage and I don't know. I don't ever try to blame an audience,
Mhm.
but I will now. No,
It's tough sometimes.
well, sometimes I was like, I couldn't tell if they were high. Like reactions were slow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I did something in the beginning. You know, you could set people off in the beginning for a joke, and you only have 10 minutes. And it's like it's hard to come back from that. But I texted the person that booked me immediately. Like I left and went home. I was like, so sorry, I've never been funny before.
Yeah.
That shook me a little bit, but obviously just got up so many times after that that it didn't. But I think my worst bomb
Yeah,
ever, historically, two, both out of cities.
Okay.
Well, one was in like the Poconos.
Okay.
And yeah, I was asked to host a show. This was probably 2 years ago, maybe, I don't remember. It was a black room in the Poconos. The show already got off to we were like started an hour and a half late. And I got up, and my first joke, I used the word gay. And you would have
Big
thought
mistake.
I ate box on stage. You would have thought I truly was out there, bush out on stage. The reaction that I got for saying the word gay was like nothing I've ever seen. Like feared, a little scared for my safety.
Yeah.
Like that made dramatic, but like arms physically crossed by every couple in the room. The joke is about having gay thoughts. I've done this bit. I haven't done it in a while, but it was about this woman came up to me and she was like told me I was beautiful, so I was having gay thoughts. But it was because she actually is. It was because it was Emily Blunt. It was because the girl looked like me. It was the whole joke.
Yeah.
It's like that they're not gay thoughts. I'm just obsessed with myself.
Yeah.
But because I said the word gay up top, could not get them back. And I did 20 minutes up top, and I just
Ooh.
never had them.
That was your first joke.
First joke.
Yeah.
Because I go out there just being silly, like host energy, being
Yeah.
like, oh, guys, like, I've been having gay thoughts. Like, has anybody else recently? Just to,
Not
like,
in the Poconos. They outlawed it.
wasn't, and I don't know if it's so much the combination of being, like, minority and then out in the Poconos,
Yeah.
too, and then saying, like, not a good read on my part is what I'll say.
Yeah.
But I kept going, like, you know, it ended up being fine. I met a couple of comics that night. It was, like, you know, all the positive things, but I went home, like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then my two biggest bombs were, like, It's just situational.
Mm-hmm.
But that made me like rethink that I need to have sets for just reworking for suburbs and different crowds.
Big time.
I did a show in Atlantic City, which is like the gimmick. I did like the gimmicky like on the boardwalk show, and it was a bunch of old gross dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it one time. I'll never do it again. And there was one guy that was super nice to me, but the rest, like, I felt uncomfortable the whole time I was there. And I got up on stage, and same thing, it was like a 10-minute set, and the stage that you're on is literally like where go-go dancers like stand. So, like,
Yeah.
so I get up, mind you, my family, my parents are there. They got a whole booth with their friends, and like my parents don't come out to see me that often, but they live in Jersey, so they
Yeah.
came. And first joke I said, you know, growing up a Jersey girl, you know, I would have thought if you told me I was performing in Lake City, you guys would at least be throwing money at me.
Mm-hmm.
Silence. One laugh. My
Oh.
my stepdad. Only person in the room cracking up. And then mortifying silence for the next 10 minutes.
Do they not like jokes
Oh.
about being in Atlantic City? Like, are they sensitive
no,
to that?
they didn't like a woman talking. Because after the show, the next person that went up destroyed the room
Yeah.
on 15 minutes of having diarrhea on the expressway.
Oh, that'll do it. Yeah.
15 minutes
That'll do it.
of shitting himself. And I don't even like talking about talk, but like I could like I sat back there and you know the one guy's like, "Oh, you had some good story." I'm like, I don't need to hear that right now. And then this woman came up to me and like she had less teeth than I had jokes that night, I'll say. And she said,
Nice.
"I've never seen a woman on stage." And I said, "Ever?
Any stage?
Anything? No. I liked it."
Not your jokes, the concept of a woman on stage. Yeah.
She walked away, and then I had to go say hi to my family, and it was. Thank God my mom's friends like to drink because they already forgot anything I had said.
Yeah.
But my parents, yeah, my mom recently, I showed her 2 sets, like I sent her 2 sets, and she was like, "Why do you think the reactions were so different for this one than this one?" I was like, it was a very nice way of saying, "Why did you eat shit on this one and not this one?"
That's what we're always wondering as comics.
Those were probably my 2 biggest like recent bombs, and those were like both within the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like bombs that made me think, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? But really, if anything, it just made me change how and when I choose where to perform, which is a privilege. I get that, like I get offers to do stuff, but going into things so differently, like not thinking you're gonna kill every room and just really realizing the business part of it all.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm gonna just not be funny for a room.
Yeah. Right. Like there's just certain rooms that, like I feel like this past weekend, or whatever, I was in Baltimore recently and I did a Don't Tell, which is like always just like Gen Pop. And I did, prior to that, I did a comedy show that also had drag queens, like intermittently performing in between the comics. And I realized, like, you know, there's comics who are like, "Oh, I kill in black rooms." I'm like, I kill in gay rooms. I
was just thinking a drag show audience, they're ready to be involved.
Yeah.
So like I did sorry.
No, yeah, that's, and like doing the show that I do at Punchline too, the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's because I think same with like you know, like Gianmarco Ceresi, right? How he is, that's his whole thing, is like he's like a theater adult kind of person. Kills with crowds like that. I realize like gay rooms are my rooms. They love my like when I perform in front of general population people, I'm like, and it's a good show, I'm like, great, I did well. If I perform in front of like what I would consider the same level of good, but in a gay room, it is like, I feel like a fucking god. Like, these are my people.
I think that's my issue right now, is like finding a market. Like
your room.
Yeah. Because there's like a similar type of people that come up to me after shows, but I don't have dang, I really need to get a hold on a minority, huh?
Yeah, I feel like you would do well in gay rooms.
I don't want to.
You don't want
cut that. No, I won't cut that. Keep that in.
Also, I don't think gay rooms is even a term in comedy, but
yeah, they're called grooms.
You know, they're just called Philly shows, but yeah.
Yeah. there's something about anything too specific. It's like the man calling me, asking me if I do ethnic
Yeah,
material.
yeah, yeah.
I never think of a room like that, and not in an I don't see color way.
Yeah.
I mean more like I'm not seeking out
Right.
a room for the type of audience
Right.
because
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's a privilege to be able to do it. And like the last 2-3 gay room shows I've done, I haven't sought out. It's just been, it's not until I noticed like the pattern of being like, oh, actually,
You know what
this
it
is the thread.
and I think I'm a little adverse because the last couple gay men that have come up to me after shows have said wild things that I
Oh yeah. Oh,
like about my body specifically.
mhm.
I have a
Humbling
reel
group.
that's on right now that like a guy yelling out, and he thinks he's being encouraging, but it's like I had another group of gay guys come up to me in Atlanta and say that the whole time I was on stage they were wondering if my tits were real or not.
Humbling group. Yeah.
But I don't want that energy.
No.
I don't want that energy. That's why, like, I
Yeah.
don't. I'm not saying I don't. I'm happy to have anybody in an audience.
Yeah.
But I don't need the specific energy of people that came to see a drag show.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're not gonna like my energy.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I'm not out here for the gays. I don't think. Cut that. I'll keep it in.
Are you homophobic?
Uh,
Yes. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should all be, there's a healthy level of being homophobic.
There's a healthy level of hating people that are loud. It's not nothing. They could be gay, straight,
You are
pan,
so correct.
bi.
Yeah. Mhm.
My issue is with people that yell out, feel like they're part of the show.
Yeah.
That's not stand-up comedy for me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need people talking about my tits. If anybody that
Agreed.
wasn't a gay man said that to me, police, jail, all the things. You can't come up to a woman and say that. Anybody, you can't go up to any person and say that.
It was such a
right away.
huge conversation, like in theater school, about that, about like the fact that like the gay guys would think that they can talk to women, like that they would like do fit that they thought were funny, like unhook our bra while we're like talking, or like call you a cunt, or like do things that like
And
any
my
other
brain
guy.
is like, what are you saying?
I know,
right
no,
now?
it's crazy, but we're all just so used to it. But it was like, actually, you actually can't just do that just because you're not attracted to women.
Yeah,
it kind of feels like you hate women. Actually,
I was at a bar here years ago, but it was Halloween, and this guy grabbed my boobs,
Mhm.
and I went up to the manager of the bar, and I was like, "Get that guy out of here!
Yeah.
He's physically harassing me." And they were like, "Well, he works here sometimes, and he's gay. He doesn't mean it."
He doesn't mean it. Oh, okay. It was a bit. Okay.
And I was like, "What?" And then he yelled at me and pushed me into a wall because I asked them to, because he was like, "You're trying to get me kicked out."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, I'll leave.
Yeah.
This is not my safe space."
No, it's not.
So should we wrap up on me being homophobic?
Yeah.
As all hell.
Yeah.
No, it's not homophobia. I don't like loud noises.
No.
So maybe I don't like gay people.
Yeah. Well, I also will say, as you're saying this, so the show that I did, the drag
Would
show.
have been my nightmare. Would have been my worst nightmare.
Well, no, they were drag kings. They were women dressing up
Oh, okay,
as
okay,
guys.
okay.
So
Yeah,
it was
remember
all it was all lesbians in the audience, and obviously the Betty's shows are all
Yeah,
lesbian
yeah.
audiences. So maybe I just do really well with lesbians.
That's different.
Yeah, it is. As I'm saying this, I'm realizing when I said gay rooms, that is what I've meant so far.
Yeah, maybe I should stop being weird about it, and we can wrap that up with our saying. I
Yeah.
just don't like loud noises. My worst nightmare, loud noises.
Oh man.
Especially unexpected loud noises.
Oh man. You would have fucking died in theater school.
Oh, I thought you were going to say at 9/11.
And 9/11 too. Talk about unexpected
Oh,
loud
theater
noises.
school, yeah, I would have been so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I just picture people being like too comfortable touching.
Oh, well, because we all make out with each other all day in scene, like while acting, and so then and there's only like 10 of us. It's a nightmare. Yeah, it was like real life Glee.
Just hearing this is like making me want to wash my bed sheets.
Yeah.
Like just.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's everything. Oh, the thing I wanted to tell you, which it doesn't matter if it's on mic or not, but the dude who came up to me after the Don't Tell show, what he came up to say.
Are we
to me-
done? Should we say bye and push a mic away?
Oh yeah, we kind of want you want yeah
Okay.
yeah.
Good note to end on because I definitely was being weird about that. So I'll check myself.
About what?
Just the audiences and like loud noises and.
Oh yeah.
I'm grateful for anybody to come see me perform.
No, you're right. That's a good point. We're grateful no matter what, but
I want more people to come see me perform.
yeah, just don't talk if you're not spoken to.
Quit being so loud.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stop being weird about that.
Okay.
See you next time, babe.
Okay, bye. Great.